What's going on, Eminem fan of the internet? Hope you're doing well. Today we are going to be discussing Music to be Murdered by Side B, as it has been one whole year since it was actually dropped. But before we go into actually talking about it, maybe just drop a like and leave a subscribe, you know, if you want to see more sort of stuff like this, you know? Yeah, appreciate it. So what I want to go over with you in this video is basically talking about everything that Eminem has actually done since dropping Music to be Murdered by Side B. That's such a long thing to keep saying in this video, but you're probably going to hear it one or two more times. But also sort of reminiscing over, has any of my thoughts changed, or do I have any new favourite songs from Music to be Murdered by Side B? Seeing if my thoughts are any different from the video that you can watch right here from my Eminem Music Burn. I can't keep doing this. Music to be Murdered by Side B video, vinyl video that was, and kind of seeing how my thoughts changed, because that video was I think 2 months after the actual project has been released, so that's probably a good reference for you to actually go and watch what I thought then, and this is sort of talking about it now. Might be a tad bit weird how I'm going to order it, but I say we actually start off with everything Eminem has done after the release of Side B. Why am I not just saying Side B? It has literally just occurred to me. That's how stupid I am. So here's the thing, right? I was trying to think about what features Eminem has done this year, but there's only one I can actually remember or seem to actually find, and that's Nas with King's Disease on EMPD 2, which was a good fucking verse by him. It was very similar to what he did on the end of Music to be Murdered by, while still being different enough to be its own verse on Nas's album. So I really love that song. And King's Disease, forget about Eminem, I really hope wins the Grammy this year. I don't think it will. I feel like Nas has sort of had his time in the spotlight, but I would kind of love for this album to get the appreciation that it needs as albums of the year, because it's personally mine. But the only other sort of song release I could sort of see from Eminem, or remember at least, is his remix he did of Killer, which was actually on the Side B originally, not like something from Side A, with the features of Jack Harlow and Cordae. I think for me personally, I prefer the original Killer. I really love it because I think it's kind of one that can get overlooked, but it feels more kind of reminiscent of that, I guess, the Slim Shady LP sort of era of that trilogy, Eminem Show, Marshall Mathers LP. It felt very reminiscent of that era of Eminem, with a little bit of the D12 stuff sort of mixed in with that, in terms of like the sort of club hit sort of song, which it kind of felt like was, it felt like to me a better version of the Ed Sheeran song that he did on the Side A version. And I really liked what Jack Harlow and Cordae brought onto the song. I just kind of feel like with Eminem, what can happen sometimes is when he gets a feature, he feels the need to kind of do his best because he sees it as competition, and healthy competition that is, but I feel sometimes it kind of comes at the sacrifice of the song, and I feel that a little bit on the remix. Not saying I don't like it, but I kind of felt like it would be better if he kind of stuck with one of the verses or did something similar to what he did on the Killer original version, and instead of doing 3 verses on his own, he did like Cordae, Jack Harlow, and then him, although it went the other, although it was those two switched around. Yeah, either way, it was a fun kind of bonus sort of song to have, which is something, eh? And I should mention, he's given 2 of arguably who I believe are kind of, how would I put it? I would probably say like the 2 kind of headliners of the next generation of rap, in my opinion, kind of giving those 2 a spotlight next to him and elevating their stock price even more to kind of make him more valued in the rap game, in my opinion. And then listing off a few random things that he's done this year. He appeared on BMF, 50 Cent show, which was like the smallest cameo from what I heard. That's all I've seen of it anyway. He's also squashed his beef with Snoop Dogg, which I think is, we can all agree is a good thing. Like 2 people like them, they don't need beef. And Snoop Dogg actually did confirm that Eminem's going to be the only feature on the Mount Rushmore album. Eminem also did another thing this year, which was kind of out of the blue, which was actually release his NFTs. You can see on screen right now what he actually released. And I think the other 2 things that are definitely worth mentioning are he performed or did a surprise appearance at LL Cool J's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, and performed there. And he's also actually relating it back to that, is that I believe now it's been 25 years he's been in the industry, which makes him qualifies him for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So that's kind of everything that's majorly happened with Eminem in 2021. But how about we now actually talk about Music to be Murdered by Side B, and does it still hold up in the year 2020 or going into the year 2022? I'm still stuck mentally in 2019 at the end of that year, so I need to kind of catch up with the times. Now, I don't know if this is just me, but every time I seem to go on Twitter and kind of look at Eminem sort of stuff, or even just like, not just Twitter, Instagram, just looking like at the Eminem space, I don't feel like side B gets as much appreciation as I feel like it deserves. And here's the thing that I find with Music to be Murdered by as a whole concept, including side A and side B together. Side A to me represents the kind of rap, like, nerdiness of Eminem and just like that kind of hardcore respect for the culture of rap and actually being able to put his full lyricism to his absolute best potential and kind of bringing in like anyone who he respects within the industry, from the people in Slaughterhouse to Young M.A, Juice WRLD, as well as just in, I think the best way to sum it up is like it's a homage to hip hop in general. Whereas to me what side B is kind of that more playful, having fun doing rap sort of stuff. I'm not saying he wasn't having fun doing that stuff, but it was kind of like side B was more of that playful kind of, not being as, not thoughtful or caring, just like not being as serious on that side of it and just kind of having fun with making whatever songs he felt like making. Which is why I kind of find it a bit unfair to say that side B is better than side A or side A is better than side B, and I feel like they work at representing different sides of hip hop in a way. But this is focusing on side B anyway, and for me, I personally, if I were to sit down and listen to, say, either one of these sides as projects, whatever you want to call them, I am always going to listen to side B, not because of like length of time or anything, but because for me, it's just wanting to casually listen to Eminem. I will just jump in, listen to the whole of side B. Once it gets to side A, I just kind of drop it. Because for me, side A is something that I want to kind of listen to fully, like once or twice a year. Not because it's bad, just because I feel like every time I listen to side A, I need to listen to it all the way through to make it really work and for me to really appreciate / listen to the music. And I don't really, it's just a connection with me where I don't feel like I want to listen to any of those songs individually or apart from each other. Whereas with side B, a load of those songs have ended up in my actual Spotify Wrapped, and I really enjoy being able to take out songs from that track list from side B and actually listen to them independently of each other. And I'm fully aware that's just a personal preference for me, but I just feel like there's a lot more, I hate doing this thing, but like side A's rapping, side B's songwriting. There's, to me as a rapper myself, I find that being a major difference between the, like I see a major difference between those two things. Which is why in my opinion, I believe that genuinely side B is the best project Eminem has released. / Music to be Murdered by, but in particular for me, side B is the best project that Eminem has released since Marshall Mathers LP 2. And as well as that, I feel like it takes a lot of the kind of, like, to me, when I think of Music to be Murdered by, I think it is the Eminem show in modern day. And I feel like side B is a really good example, and side A did do it, but I feel like side B did it to even further extent, was that it took a lot more of that old Eminem style to actually merge it with the current, like, new day sort of stuff, or modern era of rap. But let's talk about some of the individual songs themselves and sort of say what's gone up in my estimation or what's kind of come down a little bit. And kind of I'll just go through it, I won't go through every song, but Black Magic, that was a song that ever since it kind of came out, it just felt like it was kind of meant to be the setup for, it was almost like a prequel song to Music to be Murdered by side A. And it kind of does its purpose. I was kind of neutral on it. I'll listen to it, I don't think it's a bad song. I feel like it's kind of a bit overplay on the Skylar Grey thing. I'm not mad about Eminem still working with Skylar Grey, I just think this is an example of where it's kind of gone into a bit too overkill, but it's there. And to me, that's the only song where I kind of have a neutral or badish opinion of it. Not even bad, just like not as positive as the rest. Because the next two tracks, they're just Eminem having fun in his lyricism, and I feel like they're very unique beats, and just like, if you really like rap and you just like hearing people just like go on these random kind of tangents of just rapping and using whatever words they can, Alfred's theme really like does that for you. And then Tone Deaf sort of takes that and then emerges it more into a song with a hook. And there was actually, I probably should have mentioned this, but there was a major kind of like thing, I think very early on in the year, where people were kind of trying to cancel Eminem, and Tone Deaf was almost, I found it really weird how it worked, because the whole cancel Eminem thing sort of came out. That's right, that's what he did. I remember now. So, what kind of happened was, people were sort of saying cancel Eminem, and he had already released the song Tone Deaf, kind of almost addressing it, because there was a little bit of it in 2020 when he first dropped it, or Music to be Murdered by side A. There was a little bit of like cancel Eminem sort of shit. And then he sort of dropped in side B, this song, Tone Deaf, which kind of addressed a lot of that stuff. And then it was kind of a little quiet in terms of the reception to that. And then people on TikTok were kind of addressing the whole cancel Eminem sort of situation. And then Eminem actually dropped the Tone Deaf music video. Now I remember it. Favorite Bitch, that just keeps going higher on my list in terms of the song I like. I loved it when I first heard it. I'm loving it even more now after my 20 plus listens of the song. Guns Blazing, I think for me, I feel like Guns Blazing is one that a lot of people really like, and I like it. I just feel like I'm still just above neutral on it. I think it's really good. I'm just like, I don't have an overall real opinion of it. I feel like it kind of goes into like Eminem's personal life, and I don't know what it is for me. Sometimes, like in this song, the way it's kind of addressed, I find a bit odd and kind of in this like limbo thing where it's kind of like he's talking about it but he's not mentioning anything really about it, or there's stuff to look into but there's also nothing to look into. It's really weird for me, but that's just kind of me. You probably will say something about that in the comments below, won't you? Wink wink, come on, tell me. And then we have Nat, and honestly this song, like, because obviously you had the music video drop with it on the launch of side B, but it would have just been for me if it was that whole like first beat and it didn't get that beat switch. If it was just that all the way throughout, I would have kind of been a bit more neutral on the song, kind of consider it a bit more like the Skylar Grey first song. But that fucking beat switch just gets you every time, and I love it. And I feel like I kind of wish it was more, it came and took 2 verses of the song instead of 1. But if it were like that, then it wouldn't have been as good as it is. So that's kind of been a bit of a, goes up and then a bit wobbly. But it's still really good in terms of that beat switch. And that just fucking makes it amazing in how Eminem flows on it. Woo! I love it. And then Higher. This is actually one that's definitely gone higher. Ironically, I didn't mean to make that pun, I'm sorry. So yeah, Higher, obviously it got the music video this year, which I thought was really cool, and I think I really quite liked the UFC tie-in, and it was really good kind of marketing for that. But yeah, I thought it was, like, when on release, I didn't think it was like anything major. I feel like some people were kind of trying to compare it to, what's a good example? Not Afraid's not a good example, but kind of something from that. Or maybe Till I Collapse is a better example. It's definitely not on that level, firstly, and I don't think anyone's saying it's better than it, but I wouldn't put it on that level. But the more I listen to this, I'm like, I have to be honest with you, I have not worked out at all this year. It explains a lot, especially these, but I would put this in, like, when I'm trying to be fitter next year and actually do better, this is going like probably number 1 or 2 in my like motivational kind of workout playlist. And I get why people like it, and it's just one of those it's basically the song on side B that has grown on me the most. The next song that's actually grown on me and has gone higher in my estimation, we'll do that pun again, is She Loves Me. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, there's a weird kind of like encore-esque vibe to it, where it's kind of got that kind of, what is it? The, like the kind of marching sort of, feeling like there's a crowd behind you kind of thing, like that sort of echo to it. I feel like, it feels like there's a little bit, now I'm thinking about it, like encore type production on this song. But the good part of encore production, not the horrible parts. Because let me tell you this for free, encore is still worse than revival. Don't you forget it. What we got? Then Killer comes next after She Loves Me. Killer has not changed in my perception of it. I still think it's the best song on this project. Actually, no, I don't. I take that back. There's one song better than it. Staying on Killer, though, it's probably Eminem's best club song that he's actually released over the last 10 years. I was going to say 10 decades, but I'm like, no, you mean a decade and 10 years? I'm done. Zeus definitely went up in my estimation. Like with Zeus, I'm not on the same thing of where I thought it was neutral. I thought it was like kind of in a B to A tier, if we were doing like a tier list. But I quite like the fact that it's Eminem sort of talking to the current generation, talking to Drake, talking to the Kendricks, just sort of saying like how things are going to happen and how the culture changes so much and how each generation sort of tries to kill the old thing, blah blah blah. I don't know, not even kill the old thing, just the changes in it and the sort of, I feel like actually Zeus is a good thing to kind of be like, I think everything, say Revival till side A, it felt very much Eminem being resistant to change a little bit, and obviously he was changing each time he released music and kind of being more like being able to adapt better to the current like generation of music in terms of hip hop. And I feel like Zeus was the song where that really kind of like was him letting go and embracing the change a lot more. And then finally, the best fucking song on here, it's as close as we're ever going to get to a Relapse 2, Discombobulated, best song on here, I love it. You still got the Relapse stuff within you, you know you want it, you know we want it, so where the fuck is it? yeah, I love Discombobulated. I wasn't even around when Relapse dropped, but Relapse really grew on me. I love it, and I want a number 2, please. So to answer the question, does Music to be Murdered by Side B still stand up? Yes. Yes, it does, Slim Shady. You can stand up and say it still stands up 1 year later. I think it's a good project. I think it's honestly the best thing Eminem's released over the last, since nearly 10 years, I say. Not to discredit his other stuff, but I genuinely do feel like this is like my favourite music that Eminem has released. So I've been able to kind of be like, I'm going to steal several songs from this project and put it in my playlist, whereas before it's kind of been a bit like 1 or 2 I'll take from the albums, but overall I'm not really trying to listen to anything too individual or independently on a playlist. It's just kind of like, it's there, I enjoy it, but it's not anything I really wanted, whereas this was like really where I was like, fuck, this is Eminem I want. Just having fun, making songs he likes, and songs I like. But please, 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 go down in the comments, let me know, do you still like the Side B 1 year later? Have you got any thoughts of change from it? Do you like it more? Do you like it less? Let me know in the comments below, anything you want to reply to that I've stated in this video. And yeah, 1 year, here's to many more, and hopefully a new project, Marshall Mathers LP3. Oh, that was the whole thing that happened as well. Let's not get into that. That happened this year. There was a whole rumours of it that it's going to drop in October. That did not happen yet. But yeah, here's to hopefully a new Eminem album in 2022. We can only wait and find out. So yeah, anyway, thank you very much. Subscribe. See you in the next video, probably relating to some Eminem merch or some form, something like that. Anyway, goodbye.